It's normal for girls to get their periods around about the age of 12 or 13, but there's a big range of variation, and it could be anywhere as early as 9 or 10. And some women don't get their periods until as late as 15 or 16. In terms of what to expect from a bleeding point of view, that also has a lot of variation between girls. So normally we might expect about a week of bleeding or less. And sometimes it can be a little bit heavier. So it's hard to tell if your bleeding is heavy or if it's light, especially when it's your first period and you've never had it before. But normally girls, I would expect to be changing their pads maybe 3 or 4 times during a day, and the pad shouldn't be too heavy or too full. If you're changing your pad every hour or every couple of hours and it's really full, or you're flooding through to your clothing, that's probably at the heavier end of what we'd expect. And we might talk a little bit later about what to do in that kind of circumstance. It's normal for girls to have some pain with periods, and most women and girls will have a little bit of pain. Usually it's pain sort of low down on the abdomen, and for most women this might start as soon as the bleeding starts, but usually the pain will respond to some simple painkillers, maybe a heat pack or a hot water bottle, and most girls won't find that pain actually gets in the way of them doing things. If you're finding that you're missing days of school or your studies being affected, then again that's more pain than we would ideally like you to have, and it's really important to talk to someone about that if that's the case. It's important to know about endometriosis, which is a condition which affects 1 in 10 women. So it's really common, but most women don't actually know about it, and often girls don't know about it either. And it's usually a condition which causes pain, and that pain might occur with your periods. That would be the most common type of pain that women with endometriosis have. But sometimes it can also cause pain in between your periods, or pain when you're going to the toilet for either a bladder or bowel motion, or sometimes pain with having sex as well. And endometriosis is where cells which are very similar to the lining cells inside the uterus, that's what forms your period each month when those lining cells shed. Similar cells to those are actually present outside of the uterus. The first thing to do is probably to have a bit of a chat with someone you trust, like your mum or your sister, and maybe go in and see your GP as the first point of contact, because it's really important that we can pick up that as an issue early on, so that we can help to manage the pain and get you back into living a normal, healthy and active life. So when girls first get their periods and they start using pads and liners, sometimes girls will come and say that they've got problems with sensitivity of the skin or discomfort from wearing the pads and liners. And that is sometimes because of the way that the liner might affect the skin. And certainly some girls have more sensitive skin than others. And if you're having issues with irritation either from the liners that you're wearing or the pads, it's often a good idea to think about whether or not you might need to change the brand of pad or liner that you're using, and maybe look at using something which is a more natural approach, so natural fibres such as cotton. which may be associated with a reduced sensitivity in the area. It's normal for your period to be a bit daunting, but the really important thing to remember is that there's lots of people available to help and support you, and that might be within your family, with your mum, or someone else that you trust. And don't forget as well that your GP or a gynecologist like me are also available to help. So if you're feeling that things aren't quite normal with your period, then please speak up, because there's lots of things that we can do to help you.